Yeah, man. You know, we have people in this world who actually believe in an upright walking serpent. You understand? In an upright walking serpent. Just, so when I say that our insanity is literally from the beginning of the book of Genesis in the Bible, because this is a book which we heavily apply to our lives. And every day we live a lie and a contradiction with this book. For so many reasons. Because we're stuck in this elementary childlike phase, immature childlike phase, which is implied through Hebrews chapter 6, where it says, let's move on from the elementary teachings of Christ, from the laying on hands of baptism and the death and resurrection, to talking about even Judgment Day. It calls all of that elementary in your Bible. But that's why I tell people there's a total difference between religion and the Bible. Just as there's a total difference between, school and education. School exploits education for profit-seeking purposes. Same with the religion in the Bible. With religion in the Bible, religion exploits these books for profit purposes. For purposes of profit, bottom line. From Christianity, I'm not just singling out Christianity. We're talking about all world religions, from Christianity to Islam to Judaism, whatever you want to call it, Buddhism. It's all the same great parallel, because all of these religions were infiltrated at one point. All of these were infiltrated, and they all were infiltrated for the same slave-like mechanism, and at the same time making a people, making the women second class citizens and human beings. In all of these religions, this is what they share. And also, when you let someone take your story, as this has happened over and over with black folks in America, with Africans in America. That's why I say, we just don't understand, and we don't have the broad spectrum of racism that we should have, and the broad understanding of racism that we should have. We tend to think of racism in black and white American, black and white American type of thing, as if it's just here on this continent. But no, racism is a worldwide dynamic. It's a worldwide system that is, oppressing the people all over the planet, which us colored people, African people in America, are the template for this world domination. Do you understand? So that would also give us the hands-on, we've had the hands-on experience with this beast, and we're the only ones to be in the belly of the beast. Means that you can reach up and snatch his heart out. So after so much time, when you let someone take your story, and feed it back to you, just as we did with, like I was explaining to you about voodoo in religion, in the church, and how our ignorance thereof has caused us to be in complete disarray and paralysis of analysis, you understand, and our lack of understanding, and us not having a greater circumference of knowledge, because of this deliberate miseducation which we've experienced. And like I say, when they take your stories and they take your science, that's the real meaning of history. We all hear people say history means his story. Yeah, it does. But the main key of his story is, if you really want to kill a man, you bury his story. If you really want to kill a man, you bury his story.
You're right.
You understand? If you really want to kill a man, you don't worry about his body. Great, if you can, you alter his life story. and if you can, you even take his accomplishments and claim them as yours. You know what I'm saying? You pass that down as education. And this is what's happened to black people. So the mystery is what is everything. The things that you didn't know, because the mystery ends up becoming what? My story, right? And so, like I say, for all of us, man, for all of us here who have experienced this, historic hijacking of our culture. For number one is, not only are we Africans in America, not only are we the people from the West African slave trade, which had built the pyramids, and that we built the pyramids because there has been none built ever since we got captured and ever since we went into slavery. So that we are the ones who are responsible for this, and even the evidence after slavery, just during slavery, during the times of slavery, we invented so much shit. We invented more stuff coming out of slavery than we have in the last 50, 60 years. You understand? And this should show you, because still under intense gunfire, being chased by the mobs and lynched and all these things, we were inventing so much stuff. So all of this should show you who we were, because if we could invent all of this stuff, we really built America in slavery all the way, and we built America under intense gunfire and stress and hatred. So imagine what we were doing when we was at peace. Wow. That's how you know that we were the ones who built those structures and we built those pyramids, but we were beaten out of that knowledge. Beaten out of that knowledge, and we were beaten into an American fearful way of thinking, and we have internalized the mental illness, and we have internalized the lies that have been taught to us for so long. And when someone steals your story and sells it back to you, understand that there is a three-headed sword. It's a three-sided sword, three-headed sword, in the fact that first, someone lies to you. Second, they steal your culture. And then they make you a slave. All in the same lie. They now, so when they steal your culture, understand they're stealing your birthright. They're stealing your divine birthright. And that's why I had to term this video word games as well, the American clone and word games, because I had a brother earlier, a Hispanic brother. Well, see, I doing my fingers Hispanic, because Hispanic are only black people who really are still in touch with their original culture. Bottom line, if you realize black people are the only people here who were totally removed from their original culture. That's why I say, when we have to understand that our oppression is the template for the world's oppression, and what has happened to us is the template, and we're the only people on the planet who didn't come here with a smile. We were the only people on the planet who didn't choose these are the main things that we must understand. We're the main people who were broken from their religious spiritual systems. Everyone else here can come and they can praise their God or whatever, but when we was in slavery, whenever we tapped into our original tongue, whenever we tried to speak our original tongue, they beat us or they killed us. You understand? So we were barred from our original tongue. Very important to understand. So when someone bars you from your original self, and cuts off your name, we're the only people who were cut off from our name. No other people have been hacked from their name and been hacked from their family and their ancestral bloodline, basically. No other people here have been through these things, so when you see someone steal your story and try to authenticate it, just as they have all through American history, from taking our culture off the walls and Kemet, and carbon copying it, making it into the Holy Bible or whatever, all the way to this movie Exodus, Gods and Kings. You have the movie Lucy, where Lucy is really the oldest human skeleton ever found in the world, which was in Ethiopia in Africa. And when you bring out the movie Lucy, she's a white woman, she's a white girl, and you make this movie Exodus, Gods and Kings, and in the book of Exodus, you can look right in your Bible, man, the book of Exodus, chapter 4, verse 6, you clearly see that it was God made a magic trick of turning Moses' hand white. You know what I'm saying? So when he put it back in his bosom, he turned it and make it back its original color. So what do you think Moses' original color was? So for them to make that movie is just outright stealing our birthright. But this is something that, when you've been conscious for so long, and when you've been awoken for so long and awakened for so long or whatever, it's no surprise. This is what they've been doing. Taking our culture for the preservation of white supremacy and for the mental upholding of white supremacy, because if they ever was to put the real image and display the real image of our original people, then it would just destroy all illusions in the mind of the country. It would destroy all illusion. That's why I said they've never made a movie on Black Wall Street. They'll continually make movies about 12 Years a Slave, The Butler, and things like that. But they'll never make you a movie about Black Wall Street. Because Black Wall Street would destroy all myths, every single myth of black people in America, between black people or African people in America, And that's like I said, that's why I said word games at the beginning, because, when I had that brother, the Hispanic brother, he said, he looks at all colored people as black, basically. And I told him exactly that's what it is, because that's one of their main word games. That's why they stopped saying the word white. If you're at your job, if you pay attention, you can really talk to white people about anything in the world, and they're all ears, and they're enthusiastically listening to you, but as soon as you say something about white people, oh, that's racist. You know what I'm saying? You're wrong, and the air gets thick, and that's racist, But you can talk about every other group of people. You can talk about Mexican people and crossing the border. You can talk about Chinese folks and how they own all the wing shops and they doing hair. And you can talk about black on black crime. But as soon as you say something about white people, that's racist. And that's because all through American history, it's something that the elites carefully plotted on to stop saying the word white, to preserve its energy, to preserve its evil, devilish energy. You understand? Because back when they promoted the word white, the last time they promoted the word white, it was fuck you to the whole world. It was white supremacy, whites only, white everything, white power. You know what I'm saying? It was fuck everybody, fuck the world, white supremacy, and that's what it was, And in the textbooks, it never says white. It always says, a certain technical term for white people. The British, the Northern American Alliance, the Southern Confederacy or whatever, but it never says white people, and that is why today, it's offensive to them, or you catch this negative energy from it, because the last time they promoted it, that's what it was, So therefore, now when you say something about white people, that's the same emotion that it evokes. You understand? And even when you look at your television, now, I didn't want to point out a certain group of people